Hi guys, Tomod here, and I think that has been bothering me today in my thinking, or I thought that has been lingering and bothering me, or a feeling, a feeling of not being enough, not being good enough, that I should be something different, my life should be different somehow, my mannerism, my thinking, my feeling should be different, feeling like everything is not 100% okay, and um, often this is a result from looking at other people, what they're doing online specifically, and looking at them online and comparing myself and comparing myself to their expression, their living, and thinking that, oh, why am I not happy like them? Why am I not creative like them, empowering myself like they are? And this is often a ditch of self-pity, where I pity myself and, oh, I'm just a schizophrenic, I'm just the poor guy, lonely guy, whatever kind of thinking of self-pity, which is no-brainer because it's just a losing game basically. And yeah, it's a balancing game. It's a balancing act because at the same time as I want to be, living in the new world basically of zeitgeist, new beginning, new dawn, abandoning the old system, letting go of the old fears, letting go of old beliefs, letting go of old systems of mind, letting go of it, letting it go with the stream, go with the flow, and be with it, and realize that yes, we are changing, we are walking into more and more and more gradual change overall, and it's a matter of who we are within this that really matters for the result and the outcome and so on. And another point that I catch myself in is righteousness, self-right, or to be righteous. Like for instance, with coronavirus or the vaccine, I might hold might hold a different view upon that. I might have another perspective on the coronavirus, on the vaccine issue, and have this really intense desire to share my view, to share my finding, to share my perspective, and when I face that, very often there's censoring people's opinions. Like if somebody is against vaccine, then they are excluded, they are, bullied and censored, if people are, and it's a very simple thing, it's a very simple thing, people are against vaccine and want a more open debate about vaccine overall, to cover all angles, to cover all issues about vaccine, and they are censored, they are bullied, they are basically abused by the system operators, by code, and so on. So I catch myself in this desire to want to come with my righteousness, my view, my righteousness, my perspective, and on top of that, there is this urge, because I sense that people like me are being silenced, are being censored, are being bullied from social media, from the open debate, and I feel like I have to fight to prove my view, to make myself heard. I have to fight and raise my voice and be explicit and be more, what shall I say, dramatic in my ways. And then I go into this desire of anger and drama and righteousness and have to prove myself and all this. And then it's downside of that, because I'm going to the superiority of I'm right and you're all wrong. No brainer. It doesn't work like that. I'm right and my view is the best view, kind of dictator position that I take. So there's a downer from that into the self-pity, comparing myself on the way, comparing myself to other people, and judging myself and pitying myself, going into depression and mental illness, and basically facing myself with schizophrenia and thinking again like negative thoughts about what I am and why I am and where I am and why I should be alive at all, and such a question. So it's as much as it is exciting times, it is also very intense times. It's very compressed. The layers are very compressed. The components are very compressed. The fear is very. We can see this intensity with how people are being censored for having other views on coronavirus, other views on mask wearing, other views of lockdown, everything. People are being censored and bullied and thrown to prison and everything because they have another point of view than the official narrative, wherever that origins from. So as much as I would like to just be silent on Facebook and on Twitter and everywhere, I just want to silence myself and just pull back into my cave and let things escalate, let consequence fall out, basically. At the same time, I feel a responsibility, my ability to respond is basically activated, and I feel I have to express something, and I have to express my view, my perspective, and the right there is to catch, to not go into superiority, into righteousness, because other people's view are equally as important as my view. We must only come together and find and share our view, share our perspective on things, and change, and find the best option in cooperating and communicating. Not in competing and comparing, because competing and comparing, and particularly competing, is a form of war system. Okay, competing, which we are educated into competing from before school age, and competing is a form of mental war making. Basically, that's what it is. So people are, the whole school system is just ridiculous in that sense, because we're just being trained to go to war against each other and ourselves, mostly, basically. So, but that's not a chapter, but it's a point anyway, so it's very obvious to me, so I feel I have to address it. So I just want to share these things about the polarities, the swinging curve, that I can go into a wanting to express, wanting to share my view, share my perspective, but then going too far up on the curve of righteousness, of proving me, of having the right, and sort of fighting my way into superiority and basically dictatorship in the communication and the expression, and then going down to passing by competing and comparing, and going into self-judgment and depression. So there's this wave all the time, there's this wave going. And what truly matters is to be able to see this wave that goes into this, like here. The wave goes in here. To be able to see that whole narrative as one line, as one horizontal line that I can learn from the most, that I can forgive and understand as myself, because it's all me, it's all self, it's all the existential universe, the world, the word, the expression, the flow, the water, the life, the substance of me, with my mind, with my beingness, and with all that I am. And that is something in particular I find immensely interesting to debate, the totality of me, the holistical me, basically, the water, the temple of my body. Who is in that temple of my body? Can you imagine? And stuff like that. That is where my strength is, I think, to just be that, to just focus in on that greatness of life. And I think that if I can allow myself to dwell in that a little bit now, and find that light heart, that spirit, to live my spark, to have a joke, to share a laugh, and get out of the self-pity, out of the self-judgment, out of the depression, there is always solutions, always. And through this can seem like a very bumpy roller coaster ride of up and down and depression and superiority and dictatorship and judgment and blame and fear and hate and joy. Through all those ups and downs, if we just change our focus, if we change our perspective, those ups and downs can be very small, into a one line horizontal angle perspective. If we're able to zoom out of our mind box and forgive the addictions in our mind box of self, forgive the addictions in our mind box of self, and gain more perspective, and gain more insight, become more intimate with self. So these are some considerations that I'm pondering these days. I realize that I have to take into consideration that I am schizophrenic, that I have schizophrenia. I've been able to marginalize my schizophrenia to a very far degree, thanks to self-forgiveness and walking a destiny I process for almost 10 years. And yeah, it is this point that I find that is strong with me, is this greatness of life. That life in itself is so unlimited, basically. Life in itself is so without boundaries. Life itself is so expansive and so filled with greatness. And that in itself, I think, is some of the most today valuable lesson that I've learned from walking my process of self-forgiveness through my schizophrenic mind into the substance of me, into the temple of I, of me, into the Godhood, the Garden of Eden, the beingness, my avatar, my God, the person that I am intrinsically through ups and downs over a long period of time. So I will forgive the competing, comparing, the judging, the self-pity, the depression, the thinking. I will forgive all that and learn and find out what words I can live as an expression of the happy, sparky, greatness of life that I can be, because I can be the greatness of life. Basically, I am part of life, and like I said, to discover myself, to be able to cure my schizophrenia with use of words, with use of self-forgiveness, with use of writing, speaking, sounding, self-forgiveness for myself and for everybody to ever be interested in reading that. You're welcome. I can give you links. And right there, in that me being my own God, me being the forgiver of self, there lies some true dynamite, by lack of better words, some real powerful source, life essence, my blood, my organs, the waters that I am, the life essence of me. And that is what we want to find, because the conscious mind and the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind have been holding us in a tight lockdown grip for a very long time. So it's about time we can learn to forgive, understand, let go, and change, and find ourselves as key components in the greatness of life, to find ourselves in a beautiful village like Hoggamay with, I've just been in the water today, in the ocean, in the cold ocean. This morning it was 16 minus degrees, and so on. To change oneself. You don't have to start ice bathing if you don't feel like doing that. But there's many things we can do to expand our view, our perspective. To consider another as an equal to self. Do unto another like you want to be done unto self, in thought, word, and deed. Don't forget the thought, because thinking and emotions and symbols and systems in our mind is what is poisoning us. The word virus in Latin means poison or toxin. Poison or toxin in Latin, virus. The most of the toxin and the most of the toxin and the poison in the human experience comes from our thinking, and our emotions, our troubles, our fears, our anxiety, and so on, and the systems that govern our mind. So within, so without. That is where the poison is. That's where the enslavement from our mind, because a grip on our body that forces us into inferiority, inequality, the old stuff, the stuff that we're leaving behind. Of suffering and just so much bother, so much pain, so much inequality, so much abuse, so much violence and militarism, etc., etc., etc. So endlessly lots of problems that we can solve if we direct the attention into self, intimate, into me I see. Because just like Brother Jesus would say, that self is the answer and self is the key to a better reality. So, I've been noticing these ups and downs, the swings of going into superiority over wanting to share my view and my perspective. What I think is important for me to do is to forgive, because if it starts building a construct, in that curve landscape, then it becomes something that resonates with me. Then it becomes my reality, Then I will be faced with more pity, more comparison, more dictatorship, more brutality in my actual living. All what is in here and here is lived in resonance in real life as a result of who we are in thought, word, and deed. So again, I will find that avatar, that life source, that life juice that I am, and live that. Because you never know how long time you have on this planet, and I want to make the best of it, I want to do the best that I can in this lifetime. And I won't let my mind and my thinking and my emotions stop me. I want to forgive that, understand it, let it go, and ground myself. And ground myself as breath, as physicality, as life force, as the substance and or organs and the blood and me, the juice, the power that I am, And I hope that there is something within this babbling that you can pick up and use in your process. And thank you very much for listening. See you around and enjoy.